There are schools that teach knowledge, and then there's St. Alden's. Built on tradition, prestige, and pressure, it was never meant for the weak. Every student here carried the weight of legacy, the son of a Nobel laureate, the daughter of a senator, heirs to tech empires, future leaders, prodigies. The inside of the academy, polished marble floors, a massive library filled with rare books, walls adorned with framed patents and international awards. But this story isn't about one of them. This story is about the boy who didn't belong, who wasn't supposed to be here at all. He's in a classroom. All the seats are filled, except the last one, where a boy sits alone, head lowered, sketching something complex in a worn-out notebook. His uniform doesn't quite fit. His shoes aren't polished. His eyes, though, they're scanning everything. His name was Elijah Stone. No famous last name, no family connections, just one scholarship and a mind that refused to be ignored. First day of class. The school corridors are buzzing with whispers. Student 1 whispering, "See that kid? Last row. That's the orphan." Student 2, "No way. He got into Alden's." Student 1, "Full scholarship. Nobody knows how. He doesn't even talk." Ms. Clara Lancaster walking down the hallway. Elegant, cold, high heels echo like a metronome. Every student moves out of her way. And then there was Clara Lancaster, a woman who didn't just teach advanced mathematics. She commanded it like a general on a battlefield. She believed intelligence had to be earned, not given. And she'd never let a charity case pass through her classroom unnoticed. Lancaster enters the classroom. Her eyes scan the room like radar. She spots Elijah. "Ms. Lancaster," dryly, "you must be the new one. Elijah Stone, is it?" Elijah nods quietly, not looking up. Ms. Lancaster, "Well, Mr. Stone, I hope you enjoy the silence, because in my class it doesn't last long." She didn't say it out loud, but everyone in the room knew what she meant. Impress me or disappear. 2 weeks passed. Elijah barely spoke a word. He never raised his hand, never argued, never stumbled. And that silence? It irritated Ms. Lancaster more than any incorrect answer ever could. Lancaster writes a complex equation on the board, her back to the class. Her strokes are sharp, almost aggressive. "Ms. Lancaster, we've been reviewing advanced vector calculus for 2 weeks. Some of you are performing as expected. Others," turns around and locks eyes with Elijah, "haven't made themselves known at all." The room stiffens. Everyone knows who she's targeting. Student 1, whispering, "She's gonna call him out." Student 2, "She always does this, picks one kid to destroy every year." Lancaster underlines the final part of the equation dramatically. "Ms. Lancaster, Elijah Stone, front of the class." All heads turn. Elijah doesn't react at first. Then slowly he closes his notebook, stands up, and walks to the front. Calm, controlled, silent. She didn't just want him to fail. She wanted him to break, to tremble, to regret ever stepping into her world. Ms. Lancaster, mocking smile, "This equation has stumped second-year university students. Let's see what you can do with it." It's enormous, a tangled mess of complex limits, triple integrals, and imaginary constants. It wasn't just hard, it was cruel, and she knew it, because she'd written it herself, with the specific purpose of making others fall. Elijah studies the board. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't show fear. He just picks up the chalk. Student 3 whispers, "Look at him. He doesn't even blink." Minutes pass. Lancaster leans against her desk, arms folded. A few students suppress laughter. But then, the board starts changing. Elijah erases part of the equation, rewrites it, shifts the limit parameters. introduces a subtle substitution, a variable technique no one had thought to apply. He wasn't just solving the problem, he was improving it, correcting a flaw hidden deep inside, a flaw no one else had noticed. The room is dead silent. 20 minutes go by. Elijah finally sets the chalk down. Elijah, calmly, the fourth derivative collapses the function without constraint. I restructured the domain. He turns and walks back to his seat. Silence. Even Lancaster's frozen in place. She walks to the board slowly, like she doesn't believe what she's seeing. In 5 years, no one had ever solved that equation. Elijah didn't just solve it, he made it better. Lancaster says nothing, just stares. Students glance at each other, unsure what just happened. The school courtyard, later that afternoon. By lunchtime, the story had spread like wildfire. In a school where status was currency and failure was broadcasted like entertainment, one silent boy had flipped the script. Student 1 scrolling on their phone. Dude, look, someone took a picture of the board. Look at that solution and it's clean, like scary clean. Student 2 shocked. No way, that's not just correct, that's elegant. Student 3 chuckling. And Lancaster didn't say a word, not a word. Elijah Stone had done the impossible, not just solve the problem, but silence the one person no one dared challenge. Elijah sitting alone again. His table in the cafeteria is still empty. He eats in silence, reading a book, not math, philosophy. But Elijah didn't care about praise. He didn't need applause. He wasn't here for validation. He was here because questions haunted him. Ms. Lancaster's office late at night, rain tapping against the windows. She's reviewing Elijah's student file again. Something didn't sit right. A student like that, with a mind that precise, shouldn't have come from nowhere. So she dug deeper. She opens his academic file. It's thin, too thin. Lancaster to herself. Brookmere Orphanage. IQ, 182. No disciplinary actions. No prep school, no mentorship. She shakes her head. That's not possible. Flashback. A much younger Elijah at the orphanage. A counselor talks to a woman, Ms. Lancaster herself, standing outside the boy's room years ago. Counselor. He's gifted, but he doesn't fit anywhere. Not even here. Lancaster walks away in the flashback, choosing not to intervene. She had seen him before. A ghost from her past, a file she once ignored. And now, he was back, smarter, stronger, impossible to ignore. Here's back to present. Lancaster stands at her window watching the rain. For the first time in her career, she didn't feel in control. She felt afraid. A bright morning, Lancaster stands in front of her class, back straight, voice sharper than ever. To regain control, she had to break him again, this time, publicly, completely. She wouldn't let one moment of brilliance become a threat to her authority. Ms. Lancaster. Elijah, let's see how deep your knowledge really runs. She pulls out a sealed envelope. Thick, heavy. She drops it on his desk. Ms. Lancaster, firm. Inside is the Zurich proof. A problem that's remained unsolved for 20 years. No calculators, no AI assistance. You have 1 week. The class turns toward Elijah. He doesn't flinch, just calmly opens the envelope and begins reading. Student 1 whispers, she's going to destroy him this time. Student 2, that problem made a professor cry at MIT. But what Ms. Lancaster didn't know was that Elijah had already solved it, not for class, not for prestige, but because it kept him awake at night. Montage, Elijah working late into the night, whiteboards covered in symbols. A candle flickers as he rewrites the same line again and again, until it's perfect. For Elijah, math wasn't about answers. It was about beauty and symmetry and silence. A week passes. Elijah calmly hands her a single paper. One page. No extra commentary. Ms. Lancaster, reading quietly, "This can't be." It wasn't just correct, it was revolutionary. A shorter, cleaner, more elegant proof than anything her colleagues had ever attempted. She drops the paper onto her desk. Her hand trembles. Lancaster sits across from the headmaster, holding Elijah's proof. Ms. Lancaster, quietly, "He's not a student. He's something else. I've never seen anything like it." Headmaster, leaning back, "Should we test him further?" Ms. Lancaster, "No, we should learn from him." The world outside the classroom was starting to listen. Professors, institutions, mathematicians, all curious about the unknown student who cracked the Zurich proof alone. Elijah walking past a group of seniors. They nod respectfully. One steps aside to make room for him in the corridor. The same students who mocked him weeks ago now stepped aside. Because you don't push past a storm, you learn to respect it. Main auditorium of St. Albans, rows of velvet-lined chairs, spotlights, a stage with a massive chalkboard. The school is buzzing. They had tried to keep it quiet, the Zurich proof, the whispers about the orphan genius. But secrets don't last long in places built on prestige, and now the board of directors wanted to see it for themselves. Headmaster walks onto the stage. "Headmaster, this morning we welcome our most gifted minds to attempt the Chirikov hypothesis, a real-time test of chaos theory modeling, impossible for even graduate students to replicate manually." Whispers rise in the audience. Student, wide-eyed, "Isn't that the one only a quantum AI attempted last year?" Another student, "They're not actually going to let him try it, are they?" The headmaster gestures toward the hallway. Silence falls as Elijah walks on stage, alone. The boy who once sat alone in the back now stood before the entire academy, under the lights, under pressure. The challenge? A nightmare dressed in symbols. The problem is revealed. Rows of chaotic variables, swirling recursive elements, no obvious path forward. They wanted to watch him fail, but Elijah wasn't here for them. Elijah stares at the board. Then he closes his eyes, breathes. A soft whisper. "Elijah, it's not noise, it's rhythm." He picks up the chalk and begins. He didn't write like a student. He moved like an artist. Every symbol flowed like music. Every line brought the impossible closer to clarity. 25 minutes pass. The board transforms. Professors lean forward. Students lean on each other. Lancaster is frozen. Finally, Elijah steps back. He underlines the last line, turns toward the audience. Elijah, "Pattern found, chaos neutralized." A moment of stunned silence. Then the room erupts. That evening, news spreads beyond the academy. Tweets, posts, emails. The footage went viral. Academics from 3 countries requested copies of the board. A retired math Nobel laureate wrote, "Either he cheated time or he is time." Lancaster sitting alone in her classroom, watching the recording again. Lancaster softly, "I tried to break him." Flashback montage, her confronting Elijah, challenging him, taunting him, his calm face never wavering. She didn't just fail to destroy him, she helped build him. Her harshness had forged something even she couldn't understand. A boy who turned humiliation into mastery. Cut to Elijah now walking through the halls. Students nod, step aside, ask quiet questions. He answers kindly, no arrogance. Respect wasn't demanded. It was earned, line by line, proof by proof. Scene, Lancaster's office. Night, silence. A single desk lamp glows. She replays the footage again. Elijah calmly finishing the Chirikov hypothesis. She'd spent years building walls between her and her students, believing only the elite deserved to rise. But this boy, This orphan, this silent genius, had cracked more than equations. He had shattered her pride. She opens a drawer and pulls out an old folder. Elijah's orphanage record. A post-it stuck to the front with a note she had once written. Unstable, withdrawn, no placement recommendation. She holds the note, her hands trembling. Tears rise, but she swallows them. He was the child she had passed over years ago, the same boy she'd labeled unfit for challenge. And now, he was the only one who challenged her. Elijah sits quietly in a corner, flipping through a book on applied topology. Lancaster approaches slowly. Ms. Lancaster, softly. Elijah, he looks up, calm. Ms. Lancaster, lowering her voice. There's something I need to say. I misjudged you, not once, not twice, but from the beginning. I saw silence as arrogance, mystery as danger, and genius as a threat. Elijah closes the book gently. Elijah, quietly. I didn't need you to believe in me. I just needed the space to prove myself. She nods slowly. Miss Lancaster. I'm sorry, and thank you. Elijah is called to the stage. The headmaster holds a thick envelope, stamped with gold lettering. Headmaster, Elijah Stone, the International Institute of Advanced Mathematics formally offers you early entry with full sponsorship, full lab access, and a permanent research grant, effective immediately. Standing ovation. Cameras flash, professors clap, students cheer, but Elijah, he simply bows his head in thanks. He had arrived as a shadow, and now he was light, not because he sought to shine, but because he never stopped searching for truth, even in darkness. Elijah walking through the empty academy one last time, past the chalkboards, the benches, the quiet courtyard. He stops by the math wing, runs his hand across the board where it all began. Lancaster watches from the hallway, unseen. She gave him an unsolvable equation to embarrass him, but in trying to humiliate him, she introduced the world to a genius who had no name, until now. Elijah exiting the school gates. A car waits for him, door open. The sky glows golden. Remember this. Sometimes the quietest minds hold the loudest brilliance. Sometimes the forgotten ones become unforgettable. And sometimes he steps into the car, door closes, the car drives off. You don't solve the problem. You become the solution.